Hi everyone and welcome to the Mancave podcast. It's me, Ben again, bringing you another game review. Today it is on AO Tennis 2 and we're here to find out, is it an ace? Or is it a double fault? So we are in a time where there is not much actual sport going on, but what we do have is the ability to play video games which simulate sport. And as you can see here, I do have Sporty McSportface as a subfolder, which is, full of, I've got FIFA, Gran Turismo, Formula 1, and one of the other games and sports I absolutely love is tennis. And one of the things that we've actually been lacking in the tennis world is a decent tennis game. Last year, 2018, Big Ant Studio came out with AO Tennis International, and I actually played this game an awful lot, even though it was incredibly buggy. Got 70% of the trophies, which was hilarious because there's only like 30 of them. So I laid off waiting and kind of didn't buy AO Tennis 2 straight away, probably the same reason that you did. Full price game only a year later, and wanted to kind of wait and see what it was. There's not actually that many reviews on YouTube, so this is a review of both a gamer and a tennis player and seeing if it's any good at all. So let's jump in. Before we jump into the gameplay and the review, if you like our gaming reviews or just anything to do with the channel at all, remember to hit a like on this. Even if you don't like it, just press like. Remember to subscribe to see more videos, and if you've got friends or family or just anybody who likes videos and our game reviews, remember to share it as well. So we start off the game, and what's quite interesting, this is on a PS4 Pro that we are playing AO Tennis 2 on, and you can see here that this is our character model, which interestingly they are actually showing off at the beginning of the game. So you jump in and it's actually very, very similar to last year's game. It's not incredibly different really at all from experience. One of the things you'll notice that is different is the kind of visual representation of it. It has been zhuzhed up a little bit. It was a little bit bland last year. So we've got pretty much the same sort of career mode. It is based on the Australian Open. That's where the licensing is that Big Ant have got, probably because they're an Australian game producer. So you've got the Australian Open game mode there. That's where you take a male or female player and take them on the journey of trying to win the Australian Open. Very specific. You've then got Play Now, which is quite easy, and is where we'll be doing our gameplay today. And that is where you play a men's and women's singles match, doubles match, and you can kind of load it. If you leave the game, you can go back to it, which is quite handy actually. You've then got the academy where you can learn the tricks of the game and the timing and how to play, how to serve. But if you've played any tennis game before or last year's game, you're never really going to have to go into that. You've then got online, competition mode, tutorials. So there's a couple of things that they have added which is pretty good, like the scenarios mode. That's pretty cool. What you're able to do is create your own scenario. So you could be losing 5-love in the third set and you have to try and win the match, which is pretty cool. It's different to last year. You've then got the career mode, which just has a zhuzh up, which is pretty good. So you've got a kind of more in-depth information and kind of scenarios with sponsorships and travel and how you spend the money and how you progress the player. What's pretty good as well on this is you can download the created players, which is actually better in some ways than the ones that the actual producers have made online. So you can go to the academy and you can download logos, and I definitely search the community on this. If you search community, you'll get all the best players that aren't licensed. So Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, Andy Murray, Dominic Thiem, all of these you'll be able to download from. There's pretty much one guy who's made them all, so I'm surprised he's not been picked up and actually paid to do it, which definitely adds meat to this game. Without any of the content created by the online community, this game would be pretty bare. But what we'll do, we'll go into some of the gameplay. So is this that different to last year's game? Well, I'm going to be honest, from my experience of playing for a few hours, I'd probably say no. If you've already got AO1, if you've stopped playing that, maybe this is kind of a game to kind of get you back up. If it was a value option, if you got AO1 or AO2 and neither on offer, I'd go with the cheaper option out of either of the game. The online content is pretty much exactly the same and the gameplay is very, very similar. In terms of the players, well, one of the big players that they have got licensed is Rafa Nadal, which is handy as I'm a big Rafa Nadal fan. So you can change the uniform. Interestingly, the image that they actually have on kind of all of their promo, they don't have on Rafa Nadal in the game, which is quite an interesting one. So you've actually got all the kits that he had from last year, so you can play like a Wimbledon white. You've got the US Open kit from 2019, his French Open kit, but not his Australian Open kit. Baffling, it's quite baffling. But handy, as I mentioned, you have got your generated players, and you can see here that someone has actually pretty much made Rafa Nadal, same kit, the Australian Open kit, and the actual kit that is on the game. So we'll do that. We'll play with Rafa Nadal, a created version, so he doesn't have a nice fancy Richard Mille watch. You've then got other players like David Goffin and Stan Wawrinka. You've got some kind of okay players, pretty much all the Australian players. But what we'll do, we're going to load play, and we're going to go Roger Federer because, you know, why would you not have Roger Federer? So what we'll do, we'll play old school Roger, and he won the Australian in that. So we'll play Roger Federer. Again, I have got here some of the random courts. So you've got Melbourne, which is pretty good. That's all the licensing stuff that they have. Apologies for my dog barking. And they have added more courts on here, which is very, very good. And you can see that they have gone into more detail. You've then got the Rafa Nadal Academy, which only has the show court, so they've pretty much ported that in from the game last year. You've then got London, you have got Paris, and you have got New York. Now, New York does look better than it did last year, but all you have to do is go on, and as I say, it'd be cool if they could actually just delete these versions, because you then have got the things that people have made. So here you've got the US Open, so you've got Arthur Ashe Stadium, you've got Louis Armstrong, you've literally got everything that's been made. So I would 100% go, just download that. You've then got Roland Garros. You've then got Indian Wells. Yeah, you literally got everything that you could possibly ask for from the online community, which is honestly makes this game, it makes it way more immersive and realistic. So I would 100% recommend to download as much online content creation as possible. As we are actually playing with Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal, we're going to kind of recreate their fantastic final in 2017. Now, we have got, I'll set this just so we can get some gameplay in here. One of the things I do want to mention is their bizarre difficulty. So you play as semi-pro, and it's actually quite, you'll win if you're any good, but you'll be challenged. You go up to pro, it's almost impossible to win. Like, you are going to struggle to win points, and you're going to have to try very, very hard. And then you've literally got like all these other kind of difficulties: Grand Slam, Legend, World Class, and Veteran. I don't understand what the point is, because you won't win a point, and it's not enjoyable. So you've literally got like rookie, amateur, semi-pro, and pro. Yeah, I think they need to fix that. What we'll do, we'll go to pro, and I'll kind of show you guys what it looks like to be absolutely spanked by Roger Federer. I'll also apologise for the hair at the moment, as no one's actually leaving their houses. I've not been able to get a haircut for a few weeks, so we're going to have to deal with this. Now, this is the intro to the game. It seems to be the only intro that Big Ant have made, which is quite, I just think it's quite funny. So here's Roger Federer in a different kit to what we've got him playing in, but we don't mind. You know, he's gone through the tournament. This is Rafa. quite exciting. To see someone's actually made his bag is very, very good. The presentation on the Australian Open side of things is definitely better than the other tournaments because they are user generated. It's literally kind of that beginning bit and they kind of come out and that's it. So it does look better. But one of the things that really does get me, this is a PS4 Pro. We have taken huge leaps in graphical performance. I don't feel like Big Ant have taken that big graphical leap. There's some things where you're just thinking, we're in 4K, the crowd, it's not the most important thing, but if you compare it to something like FIFA, where you've got like 80,000 CPI or CPUs generated, they've definitely done a better job, but it's not too bad. Okay, so we're on Pro, and as I say, the visuals, it does look like the Australian Open, which is pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to take away every comment I've just said about being spanked by Roger Federer. A nice forehand winner there. So the game is played on a mechanic of timing, and if you time it well, you will hit a nice lovely shot. If you hit it kind of right in the middle, you're going to be spanked. Now, you can challenge, which is pretty cool. Sometimes the computer will actually get it wrong. Not that time. Very close. I have had one that's like this close, which is pretty cool. And in terms of the gameplay, now, when it works really well. I think you can actually play some really cool rallies. But one of the crazy things that I still can't quite understand is the computer's ability to just generate speed out of shots that you can't. So some of the games that I played in career mode, I'll be coming up and I've just done a backhand slice, and then suddenly the computer's done a forehand slice, but it's got the power of like a 200-mile-an-hour forehand topspin shot. It's quite strange that that happens. And compared to last year's game, there's just as many bugs, if probably not more. One of the things that I also realised while playing a game was sometimes you can actually just completely bug the computer out. So there was one set where he just didn't even attempt to hit the ball at all, which was just odd. So I literally finished the match. He didn't hit a return. I didn't hit a shot. It was over in 4 minutes. It was the most bizarre experience. You have to work pretty hard to actually be able to win a point. The computer will get pretty much most of your shots back. Sometimes I've gone through an entire set and the computer's not hit a single unforced error, which even for like Rafa Nadal is, almost impossible. So I did break there, which is very good. And if you do get the timing well, then you will hit shots like that. And it does feel more realistic, I think, with some of the players than last year. Like the gameplay does feel just a tad bit more true to life. Like that kind of exchange there felt quite natural. So one of the parts of the gameplay that I realised kind of while playing and how to try and generate more speed is while aiming you do have to push the joystick a bit further forward than maybe you want to. That adds depth to the shot, but it does seem that that's kind of the part of the game which they allow more power to be generated. If you don't do that, it seems like it just kind of plays it back into court. So it's almost like if you're being aggressive, it kind of allows you to be benefited with that. So if you are picking this game up, that's definitely something to kind of notice while in gameplay. Something that's new for this year as well, you've kind of got a halo and horns effect after a point, so you do get a little bit more of an animation once you win or lose a point, which is pretty good. That's definitely something that's new to this game. But that was a that is what I mean with the game having some bugs. My player's there, I press slice to try and get the ball back, and sometimes I just don't do it. I did actually have one point which was quite funny, where I actually got the ball back after one bounce, and it actually just said that the other player had won it, which I found quite strange. It was almost like it thought I was going to get the point, so it just gave the other guy the point, even though I then played it back. There are just a few too many bugs, and it's almost like if FIFA and EA had come out with a game where the opposition just stopped playing and you just shot and it always went in. There would be absolute outrage, and I just don't understand how, as a games developer, they've developed a game which clearly has so many bugs. You played last year's game, that was quite buggy, and it got better as time went on, but I don't understand how they can use pretty much the same mechanics and build it up throughout a year, then release a game that still has quite a lot of bugs. It's just really, really strange. Overall though, do I enjoy playing the game? Well, once you kind of get over the fact that it is buggy and you are going to just lose some points because the computer just is a bit strange, I think you can kind of accept it, and it is still quite fun. There's definitely a level of skill involved with the game, and we also don't have many choices. This is pretty much the only tennis game that you can buy that adds a sense of simulation and realism to the sport. That Roger Federer would have just got that back up, sorry, he would have done. One of the things that I have questioned and asked myself with AO Tennis 2 and 1 is, have we moved on that much from the likes of the legendary Topspin 4? And, that's my dog again. And I actually don't think we have. There's some minor improvements, I think, graphically, but an entire generation, and probably 10 years since that game came out, the mechanics of that game felt a lot more true to life. Cheers, Federer, for proving that point with your incredible high-speed backhand from the line. And that's one of the things I just don't understand about this game, is I do enjoy it. If you like tennis, I'd probably recommend to pick this up. It's about £25 now on the PlayStation Store. It has got cheaper. But you just have to accept that it is flawed. Very much like the game of tennis. Roger Federer there with the world's quickest forehand. I've just never seen players hit the ball so hard. Wow, look at that. Oh, right in the corner. I think we're going to take a 4-love lead here, hopefully. So the final verdict on AO. Probably pick it up. It's definitely a recommendation. If you don't like tennis, I would stay away. I think you have to be quite a dedicated tennis fan to enjoy the game. If you enjoy sports and you're looking for another sport to add to your collection, I do think there's probably better sport games out there. But if you love tennis, if you're a big fan of Rafa Nadal, I would definitely pick up AO Tennis 2. But just be wary that, like my game currently, there are going to be a lot of faults. And on that bombshell, we will see you soon in the Mancave. Ciao.